All right, sister, take it away.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to talk about a few things that over the last few months or so that I've realized have been holding me back, and then I'm gonna end with some of the stuff that I learned at convention that really hit home for me. Um, so one of the things that really kept me from growing for quite some time was failing to update or clearly define my why. So my why had always been more time with my kids, and with not long after I got started with Plexus, I was able to excuse me, cut back on hours at work. So I was already getting more time with my kids, and while it wasn't the amount of more time that I had before, so I kind of lost that like sense of urgency, or um, that big drive to have more time with my kids, because I had already had more time. So redefining and being really clear with what my why is has really helped me to kind of overcome that and kind of find a new focus. Another thing that's really held me back, and I've talked to Brooke about this, was differing opinions, my opinion differing from my shareholders' opinion, namely my husband, right? So we had differing opinions on when I should be able to do Plexus full time, to quit my other job and do Plexus full time. Our timelines were different, our definitions were different, and so I felt like we had agreed on certain things, or I thought we had, and every time I would hit a new milestone, kind of his side of the plan, or our communication was bad, and so what I thought he had told me before changed, and so it was like every time I'd hit a new milestone, it'd be like, oh well, you have to get to here before you can quit, or before you can cut back on hours. And so it was like it became began to feel like it was an unattainable goal. Like I was never actually going to be able to stay home with my kids, and it really set me back a lot. There was a lot of decrease in my IPA and my just working my personal business, and so what we've done to try to help with that, obviously opening the lines of communication and making sure that we're both on the same page has helped a ton. Sitting down and actually like working out the budget and working out, exactly what we need in order to, continue to pay off debt and, reach our goals financially. And just, like I said, clearly communicating, telling each other, exactly, how things make us feel. And, my husband just didn't know how strong my desire was to be home with my kids. His, priority was paying off debt. And in his mind, if I had to work a couple more years, and we paid off debt faster, then that was better. And in my mind, it was, my kids are only going to be little for so long, and this is precious time that we're wasting. So, just being very clear in our communication, and not getting upset, not getting mad, just really making those meetings and hearing each other out has helped a lot with that. I think we're on the same page now. So I've actually got, super exciting, I've got a countdown on my phone for when I'm going to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. So, okay. Another thing that really held me back was lack of confidence. Basically, I just didn't really, think that anyone would care what I had to say. Was always afraid that I would say something wrong. I've always had a fear of public speaking, a fear of I always trip over my words, and even talking to people in person, I struggle. And so I struggled a lot with confidence with all of that. And of course, I found, like Erin said, doing it scared, and doing live videos and doing videos for my team and all those sorts of things, doing team calls. just putting myself out there has helped a ton. And then of course, working on personal development. So important. You know, learning my self-worth and, you know, coming to the realization that I do have important things to say and people do care what I have to say. So, I was telling Brooke the other day that Roz had asked me to be on her team call the other night. I didn't get the message until much later, and so I didn't get to be on her team call. But when I got that message, it was maybe an hour before the team call started, and right away I kind of was like, oh my gosh, no way, there's no way I could do this. How am I gonna, you know, how am I going to have anything good to say for her team? I'm not good enough to do that, you know. But you know, that was very short-lived. It was like a minute or two, and then I was like, you know what, I can totally do this. I messaged her back, and I was like, super excited about it, and just knew that, you know, I am capable, and you know, nobody's perfect, and if I say something wrong, that's okay. John Maxwell says if you want to write a book, you have to start writing right, and so, you know, when you do it the first time, you're going to probably fail, and that's okay. So, all right. So the final thing that I wanted to talk about, can you guys hear my baby crying? No? Okay. He's trying to go to sleep and it's driving me crazy, or not driving me crazy, but I'm afraid that you guys are hearing it and thinking I'm a horrible mom. Okay. So the final thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is what I learned a little bit about at convention, and that is the fear of success. Fear in general, I think, holds a lot of us back. And me in particular, fear of success is a huge, huge, huge one. I think it was Helen McFadden that talked about it. And she talked about how a lot of us just go through life with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brakes. So we're very cautious. And if, oh, thank you, Angie. She says I'm wonderful and she loves hearing what I have to say. Oh, but we have that one foot on the brake. And what I've noticed in my business is as soon as I hit, you know, a big goal, I hit a rank, I slam on that brake, and I, you know, want to go back to my comfort zone. I want to go back to where things are comfortable and where I'm not having to push myself. And it's because when I hit those goals, I start to question myself. I start to think, like when I went Senior Ruby, all I could think was, it is a really long way to Emerald. I don't know that I'm ever going to get there. How in the heck am I ever going to get double the points that I have right now? You know, it's taking me this long to get here. How am I ever going to get, you know, to the next level? And just, you know, all sorts of negative self-talk. You know, Brooke's successful in this business, but she's super outgoing and she knows a lot of people and she, you know, can go and talk to anybody. You know, you start to compare yourself to other people. You think, you know, I don't have enough knowledge, or for me, a big one that I always told myself was, you know, my audience or my network is a lot of other healthcare professionals, and they are all going to be super skeptical and they're never going to listen to what I have to say. I think I saw Sarah Bedney on the call. I think I maybe saw her face. So she's one of my fellow healthcare professionals that's joined me. I'm sure there's others on the call. I haven't looked at everybody. But that's proof right there that, you know, it was just an excuse. It was, you know, why I wasn't growing, when really it was, I was afraid of that success. One thing that I really loved that she talked about was, you know, not making excuses. And, you know, instead of saying, you know, I could never do this, you know, not me. I'm not cut out for this. You start to say, why not me? Why can I not do this? Why? There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do this. She said, for everyone who says it can't be done is another person in that exact same position who has made it happen. So we can make excuses. We can, you know, be afraid, and that's why we make the excuses. But we have to decide that we're not going to let anybody hold us back. You know, whether that's negative people in our lives that we need to distance ourselves from. You know, we need to surround ourselves with people that are encouraging and supportive. That doesn't mean they have to be on your team or buy products from you. They can be supportive without doing that, right? But, it's surrounding ourselves with positive people and also not letting ourselves get in our own way. I think I've been the biggest person to get in my own way in my success in this business. So I'm done doing that. I'm done making excuses. And, one thing that she had us all say, and this is what I'm going to end on, she had us all repeat, there is room at the top for me. So anytime that you are, doubting yourself or thinking that you can't do it, you can't be successful, repeat that to yourself. There is room at the top for you. Each one of us, there is room at the top for all of us. We can all do this. We just have to decide we're going to do it and believe in ourselves. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Wes. And then I will kick it over to Erin. There's so many nuggets in there. Yeah, so much good stuff. And if you guys haven't noticed what Wes's business is doing, that's a result of stopping the excuses and going all out. And it's showing. It's so much fun to watch. So, okay, I'm going to mute myself because they're loud. Take it away, E.
Okay, did I unmute it finally? Okay. So a lot of what I was going to say, Wes touched on, which is a good thing because she said it way better than I could have. And so I've kind of narrowed it down to two things that I really wanted to share with you guys. Two of the biggest things for me, which both boil down to the same thing, which is pride. Because pride, I think, is one of the absolute biggest killers. Because I believe that pride is the root of all of these insecurities and fears that we have. Because at the end of the day, we're all afraid of what other people think of me. It all comes back to me, to number one, about protecting our image, about protecting our feelings, about protecting ourselves. So two of the biggest things for me was I was scared of being seen. I was scared of people looking at me, reading my posts, of people looking up to me, about people looking to me for leadership. And that point kind of bleeds into what my second thing is. But really, I mean, at the beginning, I told one of my friends when I first started in my first 2 or 3 weeks that she was like, oh, I want Diamond. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to do this thing. And I was like, oh gosh, not me. Like, heck no, I am not doing this. I want to, way too much pressure. That is way too high profile. Absolutely not for me. But things began to roll. Brooke joined, all these different people started joining, all these people who started rolling. And I soon realized that none of this is even kind of about me. Like, I was so focused on people looking at me and people seeing me that I couldn't even see that, like, it's not about me. It's about the fact that my friend Brooke was able to step away from her job as a nurse practitioner, a freaking nurse practitioner. I mean, you think about, a pretty darn good paycheck. I mean, someone being the breadwinner of their household. That's not about me, guys. That's about my friend who is living her dream. That's about my friend who is now slowly paying off credit card debt, and people who were able to make their car payments on their minivan that they were afraid was going to get repossessed within the first 2 months or so of doing this business. None of that is about me. I'm only here to push people to be better than me, to push people to go after those things. It's not about me or being seen. And again, that's just my own pride. That's my own pride saying, being so focused and worried about what people think of me and what people see when they look at me. And pride is an ugly, ugly thing. Let me tell you, pride is awful. And it fed my fear for so long. Let's see. The other one was Wesley talked about. Another one I was going to talk about was being scared of success. I mean, truly, I mean, really, I mean, she took the words right out of my mouth, and she said it even better than I ever could have. But again, I was scared of change in my life. I was scared of not being enough. But again, it comes back to it not being about me, and not being so focused on myself. Which my other point is just fear of plain old not being good enough. about not being the leader that somebody might need, about not posting well enough, about not, doing team calls well enough, like this kind of stuff. Well, it still scares me. I still don't like talking. I still, the thought of, you guys listening to my voice and only my voice and seeing me on your screen still terrifies me. But like we said at the beginning, you do it scared and you do it anyway, because it is not about me. I need to be here to share my fear. And I know 120% that I went through every single fear I did and the Lord was able to reveal to me my pride in that. He still is revealing it, because that's going to be an ongoing thing. We're humans. We are flawed. We are sinful creatures, and it's going to be an ongoing process, but we have to realize that it's there. And he's always working on us and making us better, and we have to do our part. And I think Brooke is going to touch on personal growth here, and Wes kind of mentioned it too, but that is such a huge part of this, and kind of identifying those fears and stuff. But one way to combat, the fear of not being good enough is to, remember it's not about me. And always, I was just telling this to my third grade boys baseball team. That's where I came from. You're always trying to be better than you were last time. You were always trying to grow. You were always trying to learn. You were always trying to, Kristen Abart said this in the Sapphire and Diamond breakout session at convention. Build your team with people who are better than you. So you're always trying to grow, and you're always trying to, bring yourself up to their level. Always try to be better. And remember that your failures are what teach us the most. I've learned more from my failures, and believe me, I've got about 1 million of them, probably more than anybody here. Failures with this business, failures in my leadership, failures in my communication, failures in a million different things. But again, it's not about me. And I have to remember that, as humiliating as each of those failures is, it's teaching me something. It's there for a purpose, and you cannot let them stop you. You have to let them make you better. So that's pretty much what I had. It's been a really interesting 3 years about learning about yourself, learning about your fears, learning about, a lot of those places that, I spent probably most of my life just not even knowing we're there or ignoring. And it really, when you start growing in your leadership, it puts a mirror up there in front of you, so you see what is truly there. And you have to work on those things, and you have to be better, because it's not about you. If it was just about me, who cares? You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's just you're hurting or not being enough for, but it's about everybody else. It's about a team. And every single person here who has someone on their team has a responsibility to do better, to learn from their failures, to learn from their mistakes, and to grow. That's part of what this team is. That's part of what leadership is. That's part of what getting to the next level is. You get stronger with every rung, that you climb up, every step closer that you get. So, all right, as Brooke would say, I've hit my quota. So I'm going to pass it off to her. And thanks for letting me share, guys. I love you.
You didn't hit your quota, and you made me cry. So, what else is new? I cry every day, but Erin made me cry. So, I didn't even realize until I listened to both these ladies talk that I didn't host a team call for my team until I was Emerald. So a year went by, and I never hosted a team call because I never thought what I had to say was more than what someone else had to say. So all these other people out there in Plexus world who, had higher titles than me or had other things. So here I was second guessing myself. And I remember when I told Erin, I was like, I feel it. Like, I feel like I have something to say and something to share. And she said, Brooke, you're finally seeing the leader that I've seen all along. And I couldn't see it in myself. So we all have that. I don't care where you are, what you do, what title you have, what degree you have, what school you have, you still second guess yourself. In the ER, I wouldn't have ever second guessed myself. Well, I would have never let them see it. But then I came into this world and this was different. And I felt like my hair wasn't done good enough, or I didn't have this, or whatever it might be. And Erin said that to me, and I thought I couldn't see it in myself. So I didn't even think about that until they were talking. But I can tell you my fear from the very beginning, as much as I talk, this is a joke God puts on me every day, that I've always had the fear of saying the wrong thing. So you'd think I would shut up if that was really how I felt. But that was one of the reasons that I probably didn't host a team call. But I also am sometimes cautious about what I say or the advice that I give because of that. And I think that's so silly, because when Erin said it's not about me, when I stopped thinking about how people were going to feel about me, or what are they going to think about that post? What are they going to think about that picture? What are they going to think about this Lexus? And I realized, like, what if someone else dreams when they see it in the Dillings parking lot that they can do that too? What if that allows them to dream? What if it's about them? What if it's not about me? When I stopped being selfish and making everything about me, how can I help them? I reached out to someone yesterday that I was scared to death to reach out to. They have told me point blank no before. And I reached out to them and they said, yes, please drop off samples. I'm desperate enough to try anything right now. And I thought, it's not about me. If I reach out again and they tell me again that I can go take a hike, in other words, but fine. But I'm going to die trying to help people. So it's about them and it's not about me. So I will reach out. I have a friend who is joining our team, or maybe just joined, who has a history of some major dark stuff. And I've prayed for her along the way a lot of times. And it's not been about me, because she has told me no for 3 solid years. And she's finally here. So that's something else that I figured out along the way was I wanted to do everything my way. I'm the baby of the family. Some of us are brats, if you want to say it that way. We think we all have all the answers. If you know any baby in the family and you're one of them, I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying what my family has said about me. And so I thought I had it all figured out. And I got to gold and almost senior gold without ever sending a cold message. And I remember my business slowing down a little bit, and not slowing down, but slowing down like it wasn't hustling and bustling like I wanted it to. And Erin's like, are you ready to do what I told you to do? And I thought, no, I'm not going to do what you told me to do. And she wanted me to start sending cold messages. And I thought I had all the answers. I thought that I was not going to do that. I was reinventing the wheel. I was doing Plexus my way. Instead of listening to what everyone before me had done and the success that they had had. So by golly, I started sending cold messages and following up, which is not a strong suit of a blue personality. And I started doing those things and magic started to happen. So if I had listened to her and listened to the people who had gone before her who had been successful, obviously I'm not complaining about where I am right now, but I really wanted to do it my way. And I was very stubborn for a long time. I can tell you right now, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be stubborn. Well, you can be, but it just delays your success. And you can try it your own way, but I promise you there's lots and lots and lots of people who have gone before you who have been highly successful. And it is wash, rinse, repeat. It is talk to people, follow up, get a sample in their hand, follow up again, love on them in the grocery store, follow up again, be ignored by them at the baseball game, follow up again. That is all you do. And you meet a new person, same thing. New person, same thing. I just sent a message to my Uber driver from Arizona. And he's like, sure, I'll take a sample of your new products. Like, absolutely, but you have to follow up. If I did never do that, he's never going to reach out to me. So wash, rinse, repeat. Don't complicate it, okay? But I screwed that up a lot in the beginning. So listen to me and take my advice and don't do what I did. And then I wrote down the same thing that Erin said, and I already said it, and she said it well, about it not being all about me, making it about others, that when your pride gets in the way and you're worried about what they might think because you're a nurse practitioner, you're worried about what they might think if you post about your income. I can tell you, Erin posting about the groceries in the back of her Tahoe, I remember sitting in my clinic thinking, I feed 6 mouths. She feeds 4. I want some free groceries. That was it. That is what made me want to pursue the business. I wanted free groceries because she posted about it. And I can tell you right now that was completely out of Miss Erin Kane's comfort zone to post anything that had to do about anything financially, because she is one of the most humble, wholesome people I've ever met. And I respect that. I highly respect that. But if she hadn't posted that, I don't know that I would have been intrigued by the business. But I wanted free groceries because I feed a lot of mouths. We have a lot of groceries. Why not? So don't think about it being about, don't selfishly think about what people are going to think about you. Think about what other people need to hear from you, the gift that you're holding back because you're not sharing. And then the other thing that I would say is personal development. Again, she told me I needed to do this. I was told I needed to do this. And I thought, I ain't doing that. Pretty confident. Like, I got some of this figured out. I'm just not doing that. And then I realized how much I really, really, really needed it. So people who are confident are really good at covering up a lot of stuff that they're insecure about. I can go ahead and tell you that. And I know all you well enough. I'm pretty sure you know what I've been insecure about. I think I share openly about all that. But I would have never admitted that at the very beginning. So if you're not growing and you're not reading anything, then there's your answer. Like, stop looking for it. If you're not growing and you can't tell me what you're currently reading, and there's not a book by your bed or one in your car or one on your phone or one you just finished or a book study you're in, that is your answer. You have to be reading. And to me, it has to be engaging. I can't just listen to stuff mindlessly as I'm getting ready. And I know Audible books are good, but I have to read it. And then I have to go back and like read it again and like highlight it and dig into the meat of it. And it's like a Bible study. When I do that and I really dig into whatever I'm reading and get to that content, massive things happen. And I'm crying ugly tears and like onion layers are peeling off, because John Maxwell says it, you have to grow. You have to grow up to go up. It's the truth. If you're not going to grow, or if you're not going to grow, you're not going to go up in this business. And I don't even mean this business. I'm talking about anything. My relationships, anything outside of Plexus has so much more value, it's so much more real. It's so much, I appreciate it. I can't even explain how much personal development has changed everything. And Plexus is like this big of it. So I know they've said a million times that multi-level marketing or network marketing is personal development with a paycheck. So if your paycheck isn't where it should be or where you want it to be, check out where your personal development is, because I believe you're going to get paid by how much you're willing to grow. And by willing, I mean, when it says to be vulnerable and be real and share, are you really doing that? Are you still like, I'm going to share like 98% of my story because that 2% is pretty ugly? No, I mean like, boom, walls come down. Blast it all out there. I promise you I've shared about everything. You guys have read my wall. There's probably not a subject I haven't hit. So if you're uncomfortable sharing yours, use me as an example, and eventually you'll get comfortable sharing yours. Because when you share your own personal journey, people are attracted to that. They're attracted to your vulnerability, your honesty. And I think John Maxwell talked about that, or one of our speakers did from stage in Orlando. To be real and vulnerable and honest. And quite frankly, I'm just too lazy to be anything else, because I don't have the energy to be all that, to be somebody that I'm not, because I spent way too long pretending like I felt good and smiling anyway, that I'm done being that person. So, oh goodness, I could go on and on about all that, but I do want to stick to 30 minutes. So Erin, do you have anything to add? Or Wes, do you have anything to add? I'll be right there, bud. My kid's beating on the door and the other one just spilled milk. So real life. I see you laughing, all you muted people. I'll be right there. Meanwhile, their dad's outside sitting by a bonfire doing nothing. But, that's what moms do. Okay, guys. So it sounds like we all needed to hear a lot of this. I know you're yelling at me. So anyway, we will go, because I know it's summertime. Family time is important to me, to you guys, and we want to honor that. So I'm excited. Hey, don't forget, we have an event on Thursday night, a live event for 30 minutes starting at 8:30. Get your people on there for some good third-party validation. It'll be good, and we're going to hit all of our new products. So, all righty? All right, guys. Love ya. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.